Welcome to the Personify Leadership Podcast, the podcast where we explore the transformative journeys of leaders who have embraced the principles of personified leadership to drive success within their own organizations. Hi, Nina. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Nina, give us a quick introduction as to who you are.
You bet. So, I'm the owner of Next Generation HR. We're a full service human resources consulting company that does work for employers across the United States. We do full cycle human resources consulting, hire to retire, and everything in between. So, we help any size organization, profit, nonprofit, in any industry with um, their assistance with all things human resources. So I'm
Okay.
based in Missoula right now, but like I said, we do work across the US.
That's awesome. Now, Nina, we've known each other a long time. Nina was in one of our very first certification classes back in 2013. And your role has kind of evolved over the years. When we first met, you were internal at an organization and a large organization, and you kind of helped deploy Personify through multiple organizations. Share with us a little bit about what drew you to Personify and kind of what was it about it that resonated so well with the first organization that you were with?
Yeah, you bet. So, what had happened, Michelle, is I had left a really large organization in 2008, actually, and it was a multi-billion-dollar company, and I had an internal HR department with 20 plus people, a full-sized talent management department, learning and development. And I had left in 2008 and joined a smaller company with um, a smaller HR department, and we didn't have the luxury of having core competency departments like learning and development. So when I joined that company, they had wanted to really instill a strong HR infrastructure for their organization that included all things strategic for human resources, including leadership development, training and development, and succession management,
Okay.
were their big priorities.
Yeah.
So when I joined them, I thought, how am I going to do this on the limited resources that I have? They didn't want to create a lot of overhead. And that was about the time that you and Angela had launched Personified Leadership, and it just really seemed to hit all of the marks for me. From being able to deliver a quality program with the 8 core competencies, leadership competencies that Personified Leadership has, and to bring that in-house and for it to be something that the organization could basically handle, be able to juggle with their priorities and to sign on for. So that's when I got certified and brought it in-house.
Well, once you started delivering that internally, did you see any shifts in culture or just leadership behaviors or anything like that after you started to get more of a mass of people going through the program?
Absolutely, 100%. So Michelle, it took me a number of years to facilitate Personify leadership internally. I'm not an L&D person. I'm not a training facilitator. I'm more of an HR generalist. So I had one of the things that I liked is Personify offered to do in-house engagements
Mm-hmm.
for companies. So that's the route that I chose to do initially and have you guys come in and train for our organization. And so as that was occurring, I could see to answer your question on the culture shift and that kind of stuff. At first, there was a little bit of resistance, a little bit of a question mark for our leaders about what is this training? Why are these people coming in
Yeah,
to, change our minds and that kind
sure.
of stuff. So really culturally, what I saw was an acceptance to continuous learning
Mm.
and to keeping an open mind from our leaders. moving forward to embrace learning some new skills and development. And so that was brought in house for that smaller organization. And then as we grew, as my role grew, and I had oversight for the other organizations as well, I started to get a little more confident and co-facilitate with you guys when you were doing it, and then eventually facilitated it completely 100% myself.
Yeah.
And so, but just seeing the cultural shift from leadership that at first might be a little resistant, and to their employees once they heard about all of the great things that they were learning in that program, just really shifted from a company that maybe wasn't open to learning opportunities to embracing them.
Okay. Now, when you personally went through the program, what were some things that personally impacted you, or some of your favorite learning outcomes or ahas that you had for yourself as a leader when you went through it?
Oh, so there were so many. And so I've gone through it both facilitating and refreshing several times, but
Yeah.
the disc analysis is one of the biggest
Mhm.
ones for me. Obviously, I use it every single day, multiple times a day, and self-awareness for myself. And when I'm dealing with clients, customers, vendors, coworkers, colleagues across the board. So that was a huge aha moment for me, was the disc analysis and where I fall
Okay.
on that time. And so the other, I would say the other big one for me that really resonated was the eyes of the leader, the visionary leadership,
Yeah.
and putting out the 30, 60, 90-day goals. That was a big aha moment for me, kind of putting all of the pieces together, with what we had learned, how to really tie in the 8 core competencies that we were learning, and how to really apply that so that it's sustainable and ongoing in the future.
Okay. So then once you started facilitating it on your own, taking that leap of faith and stretching outside your comfort zone and doing it yourself, now that you've facilitated it multiple times, what's your favorite thing about facilitating it and working with leaders then in organizations?
Yeah. So my favorite thing is going into an organization that maybe is a little bit hesitant about what all of this is about. Why am I
Yeah.
going to try to change me? Maybe resistant, or a little bit cynical, maybe, and seeing the light bulbs for those participants come on and turn on, and them starting off seemingly resistant to participating, to be fully engaged by the end of the training.
Yeah.
um, when we started facilitating, you talk about ground rules, of course, with any training, and you talk about, well, we're going to start on time. If you've got to duck out and take your calls, if you're going to be late, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and move forward. And seeing by the second activity, people running back in to not be late,
To
to
not
miss
miss.
the training program.
Yeah.
So that's really, for me, is rewarding to see the teamwork that really seems to evolve throughout the 2 days of the program. When you're training intact teams, when you're training maybe not intact teams, but otherwise, also seeing people build relationships
Yeah.
ongoing with the accountability partners, and having those type of relationships be ongoing outside of the training.
Yeah,
Uh,
team building is actually it's a byproduct of the training. It's not the original intent, but it does happen throughout the course because of the experiential nature of it and whatnot. So yeah, it's one of those really nice bonuses that come with the training itself, is that people do come out communicating better, more connected, and and really performing more like a team.
Yeah. And Michelle, one thing that always stands out to me, that I get a kind of just like a little choked up, is at the end, on the final eyes of the leader. It's the end of the 2 days, it's the last module. It's a lot of self-reflection and planning. And when you see that people are so engaged even then in mapping out how they're going to apply the skills over the future
Yeah.
and taking it so seriously, it just really is something to be proud of overall that you've given them these tools and they continue to take it so serious. And the hope that they're going to apply those moving forward.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of the training is the final sharing circle where, after all 8 modules have been, completed, and then it's, our final 30 minutes together as a cohort. And, everyone is sitting in a circle and we have these piles of body parts in the center. And then you just ask people to reflect over the last 2 days of learning and to identify the one or two competencies that they most want to work on. And what I love about it, and we say this at the very beginning of the training is, as we go through these, you're going to find some that you already have true skill in already. And then you're also going to find those where you are like, okay, oh, there it is. There's my opportunity for development. And what I like about that is that it's all, it's your voice and choice. You get to choose what it is that you then work on post program. But to hear people really do that good self-reflection of like, I'm choosing this, I'm selecting this module or this competency because of this, and sharing their why. That always, like, for me, that's where the real, that's what we can work with post program as well. It's like, okay, I've now lasered in on one skill, one thing that I really want to develop and get better as a leader so that I could show up differently or better for the people on my team. So yeah, that's my
Yeah.
favorite part.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. So, is there anything you're excited about in this next year for Personify? What are some things that you're kind of planning or thinking about or doing in regards to incorporating Personify into your work?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, 100%. So, I would like to, so I have with my consulting business, I have facilitated Personify Leadership for a couple of my clients already. But this year I'm looking forward to bringing it, hopefully an open enrollment of myself to be able to engage some people here in Montana locally, is one thing that I would like to do. I'm moving forward with the Taste of Personified Leadership courses, and have done a couple in person and also virtually. So, really expanding those outreach efforts and even if not an open enrollment program, being able to send a couple of my clients to one of your open enrollments,
Yeah.
maybe across the US. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
really
just to share
excited.
with people that the Taster Personify is presenting one of the modules at either an HR event or just, with a client so that you get a little taste of what the full program is. So Nina's been very good about doing that in this last year of really promoting the full course itself and trying to attract those organizations and leaders to going through the full course itself.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And a lot of the work I do with my clients, some of them are on the smaller end of things. So, one of the things you asked me what drew me to Personify at the beginning is also it's really cost value,
Mm,
affordable to be able to do something like this and either send somebody in person to one of a local training or to one of yours as well. So, really looking forward to being able to offer this as something for my clients as they're developing their leaders or employees within their organizations.
yeah. Well, Nina, for us, it's been a true gift having you as our cheerleader and advocate for the, over a decade worth of you investing your time, effort, and energy into Personify from before when you were internal in organization and now being external and continuing to deliver it out to organizations because you see and have experienced the value of it and how much impact it can have on leaders back in the real world.
Well, thank you so much. It's been really great to have this as an offering for my clients. I highly regard it, the quality of it. I have not ever had anybody walk away saying what was that? That instead they're like, give me more.
Yeah.
Where's the part two?
Yeah.
What do we do next? So I think it's just really high quality, wonderful to facilitate it. And so I'm excited about rolling it out even more.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of what's next, I invited you to come through our deep dive pilot last year, and now we have our deep dive program we've been rolling it out to our clients as well. And so I know that that's on your horizon as well, is once you get your initial wave of clients through core, then having deep dive as that secondary option so that it's not a one and done. There's multiple opportunities for coaching and continuous growth post first initial experience.
Yes, really excited about that because the question does come up after the 2 days. Okay, what now? And uh, the tools that Personify has, the anchor tools moving forward are phenomenal to be able to sustain the learnings from the declaration and feedback cards to go ahead and that the participants can give to people to help them on their journey, to mobile Manny, to all of those components. So having the deep dive program as a part two follow-up, I feel is more of a for those clients that are looking for something longer term, maybe 6, 8, 12 months out, to be able to offer to those employees for continuous learning.
Yeah, and that's kind of our goal too, to have it's not just a one and done, but to have a multi-year, journey for a leader. You go through core first and then give several months to work on the skills, and then you've got the deep dive, and then several months to work on those skills, and then we've got the courageous leader program. So lots of continuous touch points to where it's leader's journey they can evolve as leader over several years worth of material.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Nina, thank you so much for joining us and sharing a little bit of your story and your experience with us. I tell people all the time, I'm like, I can tell you how great our program is. But when you truly hear it from people that, you've been working, with us for, 12, 13 years now and in lots of different capacities. So I thought it'd be a really great idea for you to come on and share a little bit of your story and so that, there will be listeners that see themselves in you and some of the roles that you've done and kind of the same experience or journey that you've had as well. So eternally grateful. Thank you so much for again continuing to be our greatest cheerleader and champion, and we're really appreciative of you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.